evening. I hereby call the Palm Springs regular City Council meeting of April 11th, 2024 to order. For the Pledge of Allegiance, we have a young student with us today, Nayeli Whitaker. So Dr. Terry Cutover, working with Police Chief Andy Mills, has brought the international program Do the Right Thing to the Palm Springs area. The program recognizes each month youth in our community who set an example. Students recognized in this program are leading the Pledge of Allegiance at our council meetings. This week, we're proud to have Nayeli Whitaker. Nayeli has been on the Palm Springs Indian Youth Cheer Team for 10 years. She won the 2024 Grand National Cheer Ambassador of the Year and the Grand National Cheer Competition in Vegas last month. She's been very involved in the community, donating her time to raise funds for the Fallen Officer Fund, working with Food Bank and Albertsons to collect food for those in need, passing out blessing bags filled with sanitary supplies and food to the homeless on the streets of Palm Springs, and helping children of incarcerated receive gifts at holiday time, and so much more. Nayeli is an 8th grader at Raymond Cree Middle School. Nayeli?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Okay, City Clerk, please conduct a roll call.
We'll note that all members are present.
Okay. Next, we're going to have commendations for the Palm Springs Police Department Homeless Outreach Team. Chief Andy Mills.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and distinguished council members. It's my pleasure to be able to bring to you a team that has worked so diligently for the past year and a half to try to improve the living conditions of Palm Springs for those who are housed and those who are unsheltered, very frankly. And they have done an amazing job. We've seen spectacular results, and as you can see in the PowerPoint slide, I'm looking for the clicker. Thank you very much. This is the team that has gone out there. We're missing 2 members, Destiny Arce and Emmy Kramer. And they've just done an amazing job working together in unison with all of our patrol officers and detectives to make sure that they are helping improve the conditions in our city. As a result, 795 arrests, 150 tons of trash removed from our city, 568 reports, 45 unhoused people reunited with their family members, 200 camps cleaned up and removed, 880 shopping carts collected and off the streets, 40 people provided rides to the shelter, the access center, more than 400 vacant property checks, and major accomplishments is the hotspot areas removed over 70 camps out of the wash, which is environmentally sensitive habitat. In addition to that, some of their operations, as you can see here out in the field, we focused on 4 hotspots, Vista Chino and Sunrise, East Palm and Sunrise, the downtown area, and then Crawley and Ramon. And we've seen about an 80% reduction in the visibility of unhoused people at those locations. This is just one example of a camp that was abated in the wash. An enormous amount of materials out there that could be hazardous to the environment, and then afterwards it was cleaned up. And by the way, council members and Mr. Mayor, thank you so much. The OFC group that is helping us clean up, they are doing an amazing job. I know it has been a big expense for the city, but we seriously could not do it without their assistance. And our team just raves about their work ethic and their sensitivity of how they go about this and cleaning up some of these encampments that we tag, and then 3 days later they go out and take care of business for us. And again, we also were very careful to include community-based organizations and nonprofits to provide health care and opportunities for people to get housed. I know Grace, Councilmember Gardner, when you were mayor, you were out there with us in the wash. and we really appreciate your presence out there for that. And I know that all the council members have been involved in different ways, working with us on this project, so thank you. So without further ado, Mr. Mayor, I'm so pleased to present to you my team, and I know that you're going to read a commendation.
Yes, thank you, Chief. I am going to read the mayor's commendation for exemplary service, and I'll read the general commendation and then each of the names. During a community meeting with the police department in 2022, the community established 3 top priorities to reduce crime and improve the quality of life. They established the illegal behaviors of some of the unsheltered population as their top priority in addressing the quality of life in Palm Springs. The mandate was clear and overwhelming. Lieutenant William Hutchinson was directed to establish a team to address the issues throughout Palm Springs, even though he is the commander of the central part of the city. Hutchinson created the Impact Team. They were the focal point of Operation Relentless Sun and now Operation Restore Hope. Chief Mills directed the team to count each unsheltered individual in the city, offer them access to resources as often as possible, and create a systematic program of leverage deterrence for those who elect to create problems. The project was based on a person's behavior, not status. The count went from more than 330 people visibly living on the streets to fewer than 150 living on the streets. The new Navigation Center opened, housing an additional 55 people. Officers addressed 4 quality of life hotspots and observed an 80% reduction in people living at those locations. One man told Chief Mills it was because the Impact helping him to get off the streets that he now has a job, apartment, and a better quality of life. We commend you all for your self-sacrifice for the betterment of Palm Springs, dedication to duty, desire to help other human beings in stress, and amazing success rate. And these awards are going to be presented to the following: Lieutenant William Hutchinson, Sergeant Marcus Litch, Officer Emmy Kramer, Sergeant Frank Gorino, Officer Jorge Diaz, Officer Chad Brown, Officer Jordan Belchamber, Officer Luciano Colantuono, Christy Smith, and Community Services Officer Destiny Arce. If you could come up and I'll give you your awards, and any council members who would like to get a photo. Congratulations.
Mr. Mayor, would it be possible to get a picture of the team with all of yourself and all of council? Guys, if you go up. Camera, go ahead, come up.
You sure? Councilmember, do anyone want to make a comment?
I'd like to make a comment if I can, because
Officers.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I've been chair of the Coachella Valley Association of Governments, our regional task force on homelessness, and we've been addressing homelessness and trying to decide really how to address homelessness as a city. And, working with our police department, who's done such an excellent job for a long time. But to see your commitment and investment in this program and the operations that you've done and really just how you've staffed up to address this issue for our neighbors. I represent a number of the WASH communities who are really impacted, and so to see the impact of your work is so significant. Those are amazing numbers, even compared to like social service organizations that are social workers, and our officers aren't social workers. We know you have really hard jobs. I just wanted to, again, ran out of time, someone cut me off. These are really impressive numbers, and so we know it's hard work, so we know it's a tough work, and so we thank you for your commitment to this city and this issue.
Okay, thank you. Next, I want to just reference a number of proclamations that have happened or are upcoming. The Palm Springs Opera Guild, in honor of Opera in the Park Day on April 7th, 2024. Opera in the Park is a free community concert and premier cultural event in Palm Springs that draws thousands of people from all over Southern California and the world to celebrate opera music. There's also a proclamation for Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, April 2024, an annual celebration of the arts in the honor of the Palm Springs Public Arts Commission, now celebrating its 35th year, World Art Day on April 15th, as well as the dedication of the Pillars of Palm Springs, a significant public art project on the Tahquitz Median. The pillars are literal and figurative pillars of our community, representing values integral to the city's identity: creativity, diversity, equality, civility, serenity, and community. And for those of you who don't know, the Pillars grand opening on World Art Day is on Monday. Also, to Greater Palm Springs Pride, recognized 3 individuals recently for their community service and activism, and the city honored each of them with proclamations. The recipients were David Powell, in honor of his outstanding leadership, dedication, and service; Vincent DJ Galaxy Corrales, in honor of his relentless dedication to volunteering, activism, and advocacy; and Melissa Lieberman, in honor of her exceptional dedication, tireless service, and extraordinary commitment to pride in her community. Also, a proclamation for Animal Outlook Veg Week, the week of April 15th, 2024, to promote animal protection and to encourage the reduction of our carbon footprint and impact on the planet by incorporating more plant-based and vegan foods into our diet. And then honoring Earth Day coming up April 22nd and Arbor Day later on April 26th. The city of Palm Springs has a long legacy of leadership in our sustainability and climate action. Working across our city council, our sustainability commission, our city staff, and our community members, to date, we've reduced our carbon emissions almost 20% from 1990 levels, and are making significant progress towards our future climate goals. Over the past year, we've supported thousands of acres of landscape conversions, transitioning from traditional turf to drought-tolerant landscapes that incorporate native plants, desert species, and shade trees. We've also rolled out organics recycling to all residents and businesses, helping us to divert food waste from landfills. We wanted to mention all the different proclamations because we don't always have time to recognize them publicly at council meetings. Our next item is acceptance of the agenda. The City Council will discuss the order of the agenda, may amend the order, add urgency items, note abstentions or no votes on consent calendar items, or request consent calendar items be removed for a separate discussion. I would like to entertain a motion for acceptance of the agenda. Are there any items staff or council member would like removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion and/or vote? Councilmember Middleton?
I would like to pull 1C simply for a couple of comments. I have no opposition to moving it forward. In fact, very strongly support it.
Okay. Anyone else? And I'm going to pull 1D for some comments as well. Oops. I'm going to pull 1D for some comments. Okay, do we have a motion? Working?
Yeah, the machine's working. Oh,
Okay, I'm going to have one change. We're going to do public comment, public testimony first. So the next item is public testimony. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the city council on non-public hearing agenda items only. 2 minutes will be assigned to each speaker. You're asked to please begin your time by telling us what agenda item or items you are speaking about. Please note that testimony for public hearings will be taken at the time of the public hearing, and general public comment for subjects not on the agenda will be taken later in the evening. If there is a written comment that you wish to distribute to the city council members, please hand it to the city clerk. The first speaker is, this is non-agenda. Nope, these are all non-agenda. Do we have any agenda?
No speakers.
Nope. Okay.
on the consent.
Keep going, okay. Okay. The next item is the consent calendar. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar without items 1C and 1D, which were removed for separate discussion. Okay. 1C. Did you want to make comments, Councilmember Middleton?
I do. This is a very important project, rebuilding the bridge on South Palm Canyon that goes over the Tockwitz Creek. It is going to be a lengthy project that will substantially disrupt traffic for some period of time. And I'll let Joelle talk about just when it's supposed to start and when, how much time it's going to take. But my comments are just simply that we ensure that we have significant amount of neighborhood and business outreach, because the traffic flow issues are going to be very, very significant on South Palm Canyon. This is in my district, and I'm hereby volunteering to participate in those outreach programs. The other part of the project that I think is really important is the Tockwitz Creek Master Plan is to be incorporated into this bridge project, along with extensions of CV length, and this is going to be a very significant improvement for the amenities along the wash. So with those two comments, Joelle?
Well, thank you for pulling it and talking about this bridge project. It's one of 6 projects that the city will have eventually. Hopefully we can stagger them so that we're not, disrupting all traffic. Right now we do have Indian Canyon that's under construction. So with the approval of the plans, the council, by approving the plans, it allows us the ability to start moving the project forward. Caltrans has given us the funding and is expecting us to move this project forward soon. We can look at timelines for this project to be bid. We typically, once we get approval within the next 3-4 months, we move the project forward. And we want to be mindful of traffic. So with that, we typically, and we will build into our specifications, public outreach. Public outreach has become very important and is very important for the city. So we've now bolstered our specifications, and we we include in the contract the contractor hire, or our construction management team also hire a public outreach firm. So we will incorporate that into this project, and we'll always be keeping the community informed of traffic closures. Unfortunately, you can't build a bridge without impacting one lane or the other. So, you will see maybe traffic shifted to one side or the other, depending on what's going on during the project. These projects typically take anywhere from 1 to 3 years. This is a smaller bridge, so I anticipate that, and I don't have the exact timeline for the bridge construction. This is probably less than a 2-year project.
Thank you. And
Mayor Pro Tem?
Hey, Joel, how much of this project is not funded?
So the the Caltrans gives us 88.53% of the funding. So they fund 88.53%. The remainder, which is 11.47, gets split up between regional funds, which is essentially our Measure A coming from CBAG, and the rest is from us. So this project is fully funded as it stands today. But what happens is when we bid out the project and the numbers come back in, we may be at a situation where we have to ask Caltrans for additional funding to complete the project. So at this point, as we've designed it and our estimates come in, we have the funding for it. But as we bid it, and we may be surprised, and we may have to ask for more money from Caltrans and the feds.
Yeah, excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
move approval.
Second.
Okay. I'm not sure it's working. So can you reset the voting? Or do a roll call vote? Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem DeHart,
Yes.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Gardner,
Yes.
Councilmember Hosich,
Yes.
Mayor Bernstein.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. Thank you. Next on 1D, I wanted to comment, but maybe I could ask for just a brief staff report.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Jay Verado, Director of Housing and Community Development. This is a request for $80,000 of public art funds for a new public art project called Beautiful Shade. The project will include a call for artists to produce works of art that provide equal access to comfortable and safe shaded areas. The call for artists is expected to be issued in June of 2024, should the council approve this item. There will be 3 tiers of submissions to further diversify the complexity of the submissions, one at $5,000, one at $25,000, and one at $50,000. The city will also reserve the right to reproduce limited editions of the artworks. Final artworks are expected to be completed by the World Art Day 2025, which is April 15th, 2025. And with me is Public Arts Chair Gary Armstrong, should you have any questions for the commission also.
I guess a question, is this all for parks or is this throughout the city?
This is for parks
Okay.
as intended
Okay.
in this project.
Okay. And is this in 80, you're going to spend this in, is this 1 year's worth or is this over time, do you anticipate?
1 year's worth.
Okay.
Why don't I have
I don't know if Commissioner Armstrong wanted to add in.
Come forward.
So I just want to say that this initiative, the person responsible for it actually is Christy. And Christy said something in the news, and she said, we're working on shade. And I triggered, and I was like, shade, we can do something with shade. I mentioned it offhand in a commission meeting. Palm Springs Post picked up on it, said they're doing shade. I was contacted by the chair of the Parks Commission and said, we want to work with you. I was talking to LP in sustainability about something else and said, are you interested in doing something with shade with us? So this to me is the perfect program for all the commissions to work on. And it brings everything together. So we are working with parks, we are working with sustainability, and eventually to manufacture them in greater extent, whether they be in other city parks or the convention center, other parts of the city. At that point, we will then go to either Measure J or general funds and say, we need more of this one that's a $5,000 shade structure.
Okay, that's great. And actually, the reason why I pulled this is I just strongly support the project, but I think shade is something that's come up throughout many discussions in our parks. We've had it in the convention center discussions, had it for convention center downtown. We have it in our commercial districts, especially as we get warmer and warmer. There was a report that came out, I think, 2 years ago that Palm Springs has fewer trees per square mile than any other city in the valley. So I strongly support this project. I know we talked about Arbor Day as a proclamation, but I wanted to I wanted to just emphasize how important shade is in all of our discussions for our city and sort of our sustainability and our climate action plan as well. So thank you for putting this forward, and I strongly support it. Do we have any other comments? Christy, since it's your idea.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing this forward. You've done such an excellent job, both staff and the commission, on your ideas and really how to include public art and even municipal projects like shade structures. And I think it just shows really good synergy from our Sustainability Commission and Parks and Rec and Arts, and that hasn't always existed among commissions. And so I think that's a testament to leadership and our city staff. So thank you for that. And yeah, I love to support the program. I'd love to see it expand. I was thinking the same thing, Mr. Mayor, that we need shade for the convention center and other areas of the city, and we're really trying to work on the impact of climate crisis and work on resiliency and extreme heat, which we face for half the year at least here. So thank you for your leadership. So excited to support this program and can't wait to see it happen and possibly bring it back in the future for further work.
Okay. Well, I am going to make a...
It's already done.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. I have the closed session. Did anyone see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to read the report from closed session. Okay. Today, the City Council met in closed session and had a very thoughtful and robust discussion regarding Section 14. We agreed on the following actions. My colleagues and I recognize that city funds were used to clear land which housed individuals and families who are tenants on the property, including minority groups. We know that we as a city need to right that wrong, and in today's closed session, we collectively agreed on a number of steps to accomplish that goal. First and foremost, we will build more affordable housing by contributing to a community land trust. We also agreed to focus our collective efforts to explore ways that we can increase economic opportunities, especially with the small businesses in underserved communities. The first step we'll be taking is asking staff to review the results of our new small business entrepreneur pilot program with Caravanserai and potentially expand funding. In addition, the City of Palm Springs will explore the feasibility of a healing center or historic park dedicated to Section 14. We are directing staff to coordinate with county, state, and federal governments for possible funding. The council previously approved hiring a consultant for a historical context study, and in today's closed session, we reaffirmed our commitment and asked staff to come back within 90 days on the hiring of that consultant and the next steps. The council discussed other potential programs, which would include the possible renaming of a community park, dedication of an art installation, and/or creation of a day of remembrance. My city council colleagues and I committed to continuing the conversation with the survivors of Section 14 and all residents of Palm Springs as we work together to address the inequities of the past. The City of Palm Springs recognizes that marginalized and minority communities have been negatively impacted by city actions from the past. Finally, the City Council has given direction to the City Attorney with regards to the claims made to the city by the residents on those displaced from Section 14. Is there any other reportable action?
Yes, with regard to the other items, there was one existing case of litigation, two potential initiations of litigation. There was no reportable action for those. And then with regard to the items that you referenced, the vote was 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lost my place, sorry. Okay, the next item is item 2A, to conduct a public hearing under Section 53083 of the California Government Code to approve a hotel operations covenant between the City of Palm Springs and PS Propco LLC, a California limited company pursuant to Municipal Code Chapter 526 of the city's Hotel Operations Incentive Program. May we have a staff report, please?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff, and members of the public. My name is Wayne Olson. I'm the Chief Economic Development Officer for the city. The item you have before you tonight requests a public hearing to approve a covenant agreement with PS Propco LLC, the owners and operators of the renovated Lifehouse Hotel. The hotel is located at 1700 South Palm Canyon Drive. The owner, Emmett Austin, is here and available for questions. The Palm Springs property was built in the mid-century modern Googie style and operated until late 2021 as the Royal Sun. In December of 2021, Emmett Austin purchased the property and closed operations in May of 22. He then commenced on a complete remodel of the property. The work included a number of interior improvements and upgrades to the 66 rooms. Exterior improvements were also included, including the pool area. There are going to be some before and after slides on the screen and in your report. The redesign preserved all of the original architecture and includes the original Royal Sun sign. The remodel also includes elements of outdoor art and preserves the original mural in the pool area. Rooms were remodeled to modern standards and include completely new case goods, finishes, as well as updates to the bathrooms and IT infrastructure. The lobby area was updated, which included upgrades to check-in technology, and Minerva's is an on-site restaurant, which was added during the renovation as well. The exterior improvements include enhanced pool experience, cabanas, an exterior bar, as well as new paint and outdoor art. PS Propco completed the renovations totaling $3,685,657, or $55,843 per key, all of which are eligible costs for reimbursement. Therefore, the application satisfies the minimum improvements condition of $5,000 per key aggregate investment for enrollment in the hotel incentive program. The base TOT payments from which future increment will be calculated is $49,872, and sales tax projections off-site are estimated at $160,500 annually. That concludes the presentation. Again, I, along with the owner, are available for questions.
Are there any questions? Councilmember Middleton.
Not a question, just a comment, and I want to thank Wayne, yourself, for the work that we've done, but in particular, I want to thank Mr. Austin for making an investment in Palm Springs, making an investment in the South Palm Canyon area. This is just something that is going to really help our neighborhood and in this area. Thank you.
Okay, it is a public hearing, so any other questions for staff? I have a few questions. So when did this property last operate?
So the property operated until mid-21, and Emmett bought it in December of 21 and closed it in 22.
Yes.
Okay.
It operated.
June of 22, right. So it was operated when we received TOT payments until May of 2022.
Okay, so the base rate is 49, like 50,000 that we're using?
That's correct.
So, and they invested 3.7 million?
That's correct.
Okay, so they need to make 7.5 million and in order to get the 3.7 back as 50%?
Again, Mayor, yeah, quick math, yeah, that's correct,
years?
yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, again, thank you for investing. So is that something we expect them to get back in 10 years?
You know, Mayor, thank you for that question. The staff is beginning to review the performance of this program over time. A number of hotels, about 14 hotels have participated in this program, and we're going to start to look at performance. Up until the last 3 hotels, they weren't required to meet cost obligations. It was a 10-year participation program. So I can't predict the future, whether they'd meet this goal or not. It would be, what, about $385,000 annually of increment that they'd have to produce from a TOT perspective. So we don't have enough historic data yet to determine whether hotels have performed within that 10 years or not.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions. I'll have a comment, but I guess we should open the public hearing. Public is invited to speak for the public hearing for up to 2 minutes. Do we have any speakers?
No speakers.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. Any other discussion or additional questions from council? So I'm just going to make one. I would love to see this reported sometime about how successful this is, because I think it's a great program. If we are, it's only incremental revenue to the city, and these hotel operators are investing in the renovations and improvements to their hotel, which obviously benefits our tax base. And so if this works, it's something that we should keep doing. And if there's any changes that we should make, we should potentially look at that going forward. But again, I thank the applicant for investing in this hotel, and I know it's been very well received in our community. And I also know that I appreciate joining our convention center hotel plan, which is important for our city since we don't have enough hotel rooms a lot of times for our conventions. So thank you very much for doing this. It's a great property and a nice restaurant. Yes, I have been.
I might.
Okay. Did you want to say something? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Hello, council members. Just to your point about what a great program it is, and this part of beautiful Palm Springs, it has incentivized us as developers to look at other properties, and we are close to closing on another one, a larger one down in this area, which would, further revitalize this area. And I want to say that this program is a key part of the additional work that we want to do in this city. So to your point about how effective it is, I can speak for myself and other developers that I know in the area how important this program is.
Terrific. I have a few suggestions for some I'll make later. But, okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Any other comments?
Please come by anytime.
All right. Is there a motion? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
The next item on the agenda is 3A, which is consideration of renaming a city navigation center. Are we postponing this?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, it's the wishes of, at whatever works for the wishes of council. We brought this item back at the direction of council to be agendized for discussion. As I know, I've had some conversations with all the council members. As you know, we are just recently opened the early entry facility as part of the navigation center. We expect the modular units to be opened in August. That's still on schedule. And we knew that council wanted to have a discussion about this, so staff is available for whether you want to wait until later on in the year when the facility's completed, or if you'd like to give us some other direction.
I think the comments I heard were to hold off until it's. Is there majority want to hold off until it's finished? Yeah, I think that's the consensus. So we'll hold off until it's finished and opens. So we'll move that to a later date.
You'd like it so for staff to bring this back and agendize it after we open the full facility.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you. The next item is public comment on non-agenda items. This time has been set aside for members of the public to address the City Council on items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. Although the City Council values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any action on items not listed on the agenda. 2 minutes will be assigned to each speaker. The first speaker is Michael Joseph Pitkin, followed by Abraham Ishak.
Michael Joseph Pitkin. I am a Democrat, unhoused, unemployed, homosexual, First Nations 3E people of this earth, European, Eastern European, theistic Satanist, HIV positive, 59-year-old male. This is your notice. City of Palm Springs and law enforcement come into compliance with unhoused law of the land. Martin v. Boise, and Grants Pass versus Johnson. If no room in city shelter, it is illegal to touch, move, take, or remove unhoused and property. Illegal to ship unhoused to other cities. Unhoused are no longer charged fees or fines. 24-hour written notice must be given before legally touch, move, take, or remove unhoused and property for surviving and sleeping. Law enforcement and sheriff are mandated for my federal HIV health care. The same double-dipping mandates apply to veterans. The U.S. Supreme Court is granting this case this month and a new national law in June.
Thank you. The next speaker is Abraham Ishak.
I stand before you today with a question that weighs heavily on my mind. How would you go about changing someone's mind if they stated that they denied the Holocaust? It's a challenging question, one that requires careful consideration and sensitivity. Imagine for a moment that you engage in a conversation with someone who denies the Holocaust, someone who refuses to acknowledge the overwhelming evidence in one of the darkest chapters in human history. You present them with facts, you share the testimonies from survivors, you appeal to their sense of empathy and humanity, and yet they remain steadfast in their denial. Now imagine that same person turns to you and asks, why should I trust you about the Holocaust if you are actively denying an ongoing genocide in Palestine? It's a sobering question, one that demands self-reflection and evaluation. I was recently surprised to learn that there are community members here in Palm Springs that are choosing to deny certain parts of the story that make up the whole when it comes to Section 14. People who deny the involvement of certain officials who participated in the systemic injustices and discrimination faced by local marginalized communities. People who refuse to acknowledge the painful realities of our past. And now I can't help but wonder, do any of you sitting on this council agree with those deniers of history? We can't afford to turn a blind eye to injustice, whether it's denial of historical misdeeds here at home or the ongoing human rights violations in Palestine. We have a moral obligation to speak out against oppressors and discrimination in all forms. We stand in solidarity with those who are marginalized and oppressed. So I urge each and every one of you to confront these difficult questions, to engage in honest dialogue, and to take meaningful action to address injustice in our community and beyond.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment?
No further speakers.
Okay. The next item is City Council and City Manager request for upcoming agenda development. Comments? Councilmember Middleton? Oh, guys, sorry.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Just looking at the upcoming schedule very quickly at our next meeting, we'll have 2 more historic designations, public hearings for your consideration. We are scheduling, I know council members have had a number of comments about wildfire preparation and what we're doing for it, especially around in our neighborhoods. We're going to have the fire chief here to talk about our efforts and what we're going to be planning to do leading into the season. So we'll be talking about that, as well as an update on the library that I know everyone's interested in. We're also, it's a consent item, but we'll also be bringing back the JPA item with the Scott White and his group with Visit Greater Palm Springs on the work that they're doing throughout the Coachella Valley with economic development initiatives. On May 9th, you'll see we're going to be bringing back some airport airside alternatives with the airport master plan. We'll have some updated information for you with the South Palm Canyon Bridge and the Oswald Land Trust as a business item, as well as our single audit year that we do every year with our finance department. And then in May 23rd, we'll have 2 more historic designation public hearings for your consideration. We'll have some updates to our Palm Springs disposal delinquent waste changes that we want to bring before you, and some a development and disposition agreement with Neighborhood Partnership Housing Services with our Desert Highlands vacant lots that we're trying to advance forward for development. So Those are my items, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Just on the agenda, I know you had a list of upcoming ones, but one of the things that council had discussed and agreed earlier was a quarterly parks master plan update. And I know there's some agenda items that we may be holding off on or not moving forward, but since that's in progress, we probably should have those quarterly updates, since we did agree, a majority of council did agree on that.
Certainly, I'll discuss that with the Parks and Rec Department, and we'll get that on the
Yeah.
agenda.
I don't know what was the date of the initiation of the Parks Master Plan, but it should be after the first 3 months of that.
Very good.
Councilmember Middleton.
A few weeks back, we pulled a item that was to advance forward a roundabout for the intersection at Palm Canyon, Indian Canyon, and Camino Paracela. I asked it to be pulled so that we could have further meetings with the community. There was one public meeting involving largely the business community along with some residents, and we had a very good presentation by Joel and the engineering team. What was evident from that conversation and subsequent conversations that I then had with many in the neighborhoods around us is that the business and neighborhood disruption of trying to complete this project are on almost a historic scale, and that we are looking at one of the most difficult intersections that we have. And trying to make a change there. So I'd like to bring this back, but I do not want to confuse the community. I think we should bring it back in order to kill the project and make it clear that we're not going to move forward with a roundabout at that intersection. There are some advantages to roundabouts, but this is not the intersection to begin our efforts with roundabouts. I would at that next discussion propose that we ask staff to investigate where there might be a good opportunity to introduce this type of traffic program.
I support that as well.
Thank you, and I would just like to make sure that as it is advertised and as we put it in the staff report, this is coming back in order to kill the project, not to move it forward.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how we phrase that.
We'll make sure we agendize it so that it appropriately advises the public, yes.
Yes, but your intention is duly noted. I did want to mention just also for the public that we are currently accepting applications for all of our boards and commissions. They're posted online. That application period ends April 30th, so I would encourage people to go on. I believe it is designed so that you can also indicate a primary one as well as alternative interests, which is something that also comes up. And I would also please urge people to go to meetings, watch meetings, read agendas before, at least before they are interviewed, because some of these do take quite a lot of time and dedication. And I also wanted to mention to council that I know 2 years ago you did a boards and commission presentation and appreciation event. And I have suggested that we do that again this year, this summer, because there's a lot of time dedicated, and it would be ideal to do it before some of these current commissioners term out or they're choose not to come back. Are we in agreement on that? Yeah. Comes back as an agenda? No, it's just a direction to staff. I mean, I don't think we need to agendize it.
Again, this is council comments and requests to bring back action items. It probably shouldn't be taking action and giving direction to staff.
I just wanted to mention that I've suggested it.
So is it going to be on? Yeah, Mr. Mayor, and you and I have had a conversation about that. We'll bring it back at the next council meeting, and in meantime, begin doing some preliminary planning and thinking about it so we can speak more thoroughly with council members for your discussion at the next meeting.
Okay. Councilmember Gardner.
Does this need to be a discussion? Can this just be a consent calendar item?
I don't see why not.
Okay, I mean, this is something we've done in the past, an appreciation event, so I don't know that we need a
Yeah.
discussion as much as action.
We'll agendize it as such.
Yeah, I was more wanting to make sure council knew that we had discussed this, but since you had done it before. I'm not sure why it wasn't done last year, but I think we're in transition. So any other comments? No? Okay. Then we are adjourned. The next regular city council meeting will be held on Thursday, April 25th at 5:30 p.m.